Welcome back, patrons. I don't own a prom dress, so I hope this is fancy enough for a Fear Street prom. Because in an effort to finish out talking about every RL Stine book with date in the title, today I'm going to be talking about Fear Street Seniors, number 11, The Prom Date. I haven't read the first 10 books in this miniseries, and I was under the impression that you have to read all of them in order to have context for any of them to make sense. This one stands by itself pretty well. There are a couple of things that need a little bit of context, and I'll hit those. But first, we need to talk about the completely inaccurate, total bullshit Goodreads summary. The Goodreads summary says, Trisha Conrad is dating Gary Fresno. I love the name Gary Fresno. For some reason, I can never keep it straight. I keep wanting to call him Glen Coco.
Oh, you go, Glen Coco.
Trisha Conrad is dating Gary Fresno, but is forced to attend the prom with Maddie Winger, the biggest geek in school, just because his father is an important business partner of Mr. Conrad. Trisha goes with Maddie, but at the prom she humiliates him in front of the whole school. Soon Trisha begins receiving threatening notes and assumes Maddie is responsible until he is found dead. Trisha later finds out that Mary O'Connor is the culprit. She hates Trisha for stealing her boyfriend Gary, aka Glen Coco. So, none of that happens in the book. Not a single thing. Nothing about that is correct. I mean, this bitch Mary, I don't even know who she is. She's not in the book. But apparently the Fear Street Seniors miniseries gives you these little, like yearbook snippets. So this is Mary. She likes running, ripped jeans, and hairspray. Hates social studies, rich girls, and cliques. And she remembers not being invited to Trisha's party and rat poison. Rat poison. Mary, are you okay? Before we get into this for real, I'm going to give you the one-line synopsis of this book, and it'll be far more accurate than that terrible Goodreads description. So, Fear Street Seniors, number 11, The Prom Date. Girl's imaginary perfect prom date becomes real and wreaks havoc. That's it. Okay, so I think the only real context we need going into this is that Trisha Conrad, who is not our main character, although she starts the book, so it appears she's our main character. She's not, but she has visions, and at the beginning of the year, she had a vision that the entire graduating class was going to die horribly. There's not that many people in the graduating class. If it's everyone in the front of the book in the little yearbook snippets, it's a tiny it's like, I didn't count. It's less than 20 people. It's the tiniest graduating class I've ever heard of. But a lot of them have died already, so Trisha is freaked out that her visions are coming true. Also, it turns out she is a member of the Fear family. If you're not familiar with Fear Street, the Fears are the big bad old-timey family who were evil, and everything about them still hangs over Fear Street and Shadyside in general. There's been a lot of actual witchcraft and evil spirits connected to them. So Trisha found out at some point in the first 10 books that she's actually a Fear, whereas Jennifer Fear is not a Fear. Her grandpa just came to town and took the name Fear because it was the name of a powerful family or something. Hey, I totally want to name myself after the evil family that everyone hates and fears. Fear. So Jennifer and Trisha are the only two who know which one of them is actually a Fear and which one isn't. And Jennifer has big angst about people thinking she's a Fear and, I guess, treating her differently, being scared of her, discriminating against her, I suppose. But she doesn't tell anyone that she's not actually a Fear for God knows what reason, because I sure don't. So, what actually happens in this book, throw the Goodreads summary out of your head. What actually happens in this book. We start out with Trisha having angst about her visions and the fact that she's actually a member of the Fear family. And at some point at the beginning, she has a vision of Gary Glen Coco. What the fuck is his name? Gary Fresno. Gary Fresno is Trisha's boyfriend. Okay. She has a vision of him dying. Horribly. Because there's no other way to die in Shadyside. But put that out of your head because it's such a small part of the story. It barely matters. What this story is really about is Jennifer Fear not having a date to prom because prom is coming up. Prom. Literally nothing happens in this book for the first 90% of it, except Jennifer whining about not having a date to prom and nobody asking her because she's a Fear, except she's not really a Fear, but her name is Fear, so you get it. Anyway, Jennifer doesn't have a date to prom, and she doesn't want to go alone. She doesn't want to go with friends, I guess. She doesn't realize her friend Josie doesn't have a date either, and they totally could have gone together, but I guess we're all just too heteronormative for that to happen. So it's Josie, not Trisha. It's Josie who accepts a date to prom with Maddie, super nerd who I mean, this is him. I don't think he's that nerdy, but whatever. He likes Star Trek, so I guess he's a nerd. So Jennifer is over at Trisha's house, and Trisha has been given this little blown glass wishing well charm from her mother, who said it was a family heirloom. They're not able to confirm at that time if it was from the Fear side of the family or the Conrad side of the family. Spoilers, obviously it's from the Fear side of the family, because it's magic. And Jennifer is holding it and talking about her perfect boy that she wants to take her to the prom. She describes his looks, his voice, a little bit about his personality, because obviously the looks are the most important part you would describe first, clearly. It's the 90s and girls are shallow, right? Trisha tells Jennifer to go ahead and keep the charm, so she does. That's like a plot point later on. Then this boy starts calling Jennifer and says his name is Duke? God damn it. I've never said this out loud. It's hard to say out loud. Duke Carpenter. Fuck, Bob, why did you do that? Did you not say that name out loud? Anyway, this boy Duke, God, that sounds like a really shitty superhero, doesn't it? Boy Duke, to the rescue. Duke calls Jennifer up and claims that they met a year ago in Waynesbridge and spent this amazing day together. And throughout the book, he'll go on to say more things about this day and allude to some kind of hanky-panky they got up to, and Jennifer has zero memory of this. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh, he totally roofied her. That's why she doesn't remember anything. I know that's not it, because this is RL Stine, and obviously this boy is lying. But it is shocking to me that Bob never once realized how this would come across. Like, girl, he drugged you. That's why you don't remember him. In a real world setting, this boy drugged you. That's why you don't remember him. But anyway, Jennifer is too embarrassed to tell him that she doesn't remember him, so she just kind of keeps going along with whatever he says. If ever there were a time for fuck politeness, this is it. Like, girl, don't worry about hurting this boy's feelings. Ask him who the fuck he is. Make him tell you where you met, when, specifically where you met, because he's just like, in Waynesbridge, which is like the next big town over, and she's just led to think maybe it was some kind of sports thing I went to. I don't know. I've been in Waynesbridge. I don't remember this boy. Yeah, there's a fucking reason you don't remember him, girl. Come on. Anyway, without knowing who this boy is, he asks her to prom. She kind of hedges like, yeah, she wants to because she just wants to go to prom that bad, and won't go by herself because maybe this is like Sweet Valley and you have to have a date everywhere you go. But the one smart thing she does is she does say she wants to meet him first. So they set up a date. He never shows up. So he finally thinks to call the place they were supposed to meet, but apparently Jennifer had already left. So then he calls her at the house. He's like giving her this big story about running out of gas, and then apparently there was more stuff wrong with the car, so he's without a car, so he can't come meet her anywhere before the prom. And she thinks it's weird that it's going to take a whole weekend to get a battery for his car because that shouldn't take that long. But she just kind of keeps going along with it. But then he does show up at her house. That night, the next day, I'm not clear on when it was. And he's exactly the boy that she described to Trisha while she was holding the little wishing well charm. But she still has zero memory of ever meeting him anywhere. But she agrees to go ahead and go to the prom with him, which is like later that it's like at the weekend. This is maybe Monday, I think, and the prom is that weekend. This book really kind of speeds it along, even though there's so much just filler leading up to the prom, because nothing's happening. Nothing scary's happening. This isn't like a normal Fear Street where there's threatening phone calls or notes or someone dying or a pet dying. Bob loves to do that. So they go to the prom with Josie and Maddie and another couple. I forget their names. They're really not important, except we'll get there. The decorating committee at the prom has had the genius idea to hang a bunch of glass globes from the ceiling. You would think this would be the setup to just an absolute massacre. It's not. One of the globes falls, we think, on Duke, but apparently he dodged out of the way and shoved someone, Josie maybe. He shoved one of the girls out of the way. Big hero. Everyone's fine. The only casualty is the refreshment table. That punch is absolutely destroyed. So then things really get going after the prom. Everyone's heading out to after parties, and in the parking lot, out of nowhere, what the fuck is this boy's name? Duke. So in the parking lot, Duke, out of nowhere, seemingly, starts beating the shit out of the other boy they came with. His name is Will. I don't remember what his girlfriend's name is. It's like Carol. It's Carol or Caroline. I think it starts with a C. Apparently, when they were all in the limo driving to prom, joking around, Will made some comment about Duke's tux that he took very badly, and he held himself back throughout the entire prom because he didn't want to mess up Jennifer's prom. How sweet of him. So then before they head out to any after party, he beats the living shit out of Will, almost kills him, and then he takes Josie and Maddie and Jennifer, why are there so many J names? Oh my god. Takes them hostage into the limo, has the limo driver drive them to Fear Lake where there's a big after party, but they drive around like the other side of the lake away from everyone. And the whole time the driver isn't paying any attention to the girls and Maddie screaming for help and like beating on the divider. I'm not sure if this is it must be a clear divider because they can see him. It's not one of those like tinted ones. The windows looking outside are tinted so no one can see in, but I guess they can see the driver through the divider. For some reason, Duke has them stop at a liquor store so he can go in and what are these liquor stores that are selling to like 17-year-old kids? What the fuck? Because as not Will, fuck. What is his name? Duke. As Duke goes in, Gary Fresno, Glen Coco, is coming out. I don't know. Shit happens. Fucking Duke stabs Gary. He dies. Trish is there, very upset. Oh shit, my vision came true. Jennifer and Josie and Maddie are still like screaming and trying to get everyone's attention, but fucking Duke has a knife. They go to the lake, drive around to where no one is. Duke pulls Jennifer out of the car and they go. I'm a little unclear of where they are because I thought they were right by the lake, but then later on they have to like cross a street to get to the lake. I don't know. They're by the lake. Duke reveals to Jennifer that she conjured him up from her imagination. She made him. That magic wishing well charm brought him to life. Okay, so basically Duke is a tulpa. She thought him into being. That's why he exists. And the reason he is a murderer and angry boy, like beyond your typical Fear Street toxic angry boy TM, is because she had poured all of her anger and resentment over being thought to be a fear and the way everyone treated her and all her angst at not being asked to prom and just all of her inner turmoil got put into him when he was created from the ether, and that's why he's a homicidal asshole, I guess. He drags her into the lake to try to drown her. She kind of plays dead. She then gets up and like smacks him in the head with a fucking tree branch. So she tries to enlist her friends in like dragging him into the lake. Basically, she's made them accessories to murder, I suppose, but it's also self-defense and also he's not real. So I how does the law treat that? How would that trial go down? But fortunately, she gets the little wishing well charm out of her tiny little purse because that was a thing she thought it was necessary to take to prom with her. Lucky for her, she thought that. Because as soon as Duke touches this thing, it starts like burning him and sets him on fire and he like disintegrates. Problem solved, I guess. And then the charm just starts to sink to the bottom. Jennifer tries to grab it, and then she thinks, no, this thing has caused nothing but trouble. Best to just let it sink to the bottom of Fear Lake. Even though it's not hers, Trisha just let her borrow it. Like, Jennifer, that's not yours to decide you can just throw it away. But I guess Trisha probably wouldn't want it because after everything's said and done, Trisha blames herself for everything because it's her visions that are coming true and she's the fear descendant, so she thinks she's evil. She doesn't blame Jennifer for anything that happened. She thinks it's all her fault. I mean, there's blame to go around, right? So that's just kind of where the book ends. Number 12 is about the graduation, and it's the last book in this mini-series. So it jumps from the prom in number 11 straight to graduation in number 12, I guess. I didn't continue reading it. So even though they wrapped up this story, there's a little bit of a cliffhanger lead in to, ooh, what's gonna happen at graduation? Is Trisha's vision gonna come true that everyone dies? But only one person died in this book. There's still a lot of people left alive. If the entire graduating class is going to die, something major must happen in number 12. But I imagine they actually stop it all. I don't know why I'm speculating on that book, a 25-year-old, 24-year-old book that I could just read and find out, and I'm not going to read it. Okay, so when we look at this book compared to all the other Fear Streets and Point Horrors with date in the title, this one does still have some similarities to those, in that, like in Blind Date, a character agrees to go on a date with just a sexy voice on the phone who they've never laid eyes on, don't know who they are, could be a prank, could be a serial killer. We don't know. Those are the chances we take in RL Stine books. Also, like in Blind Date and The Perfect Date, a character can't track down the person they've been talking to. Jennifer, right? Jennifer tries to call the phone number that Duke gave her. It's disconnected. I don't think he ever gave her his address. She tries to look him up in the phone book, and there are absolutely no Carpenters in Waynesbridge whatsoever, which is actually kind of weird because Carpenter is a really common last name. I don't know why there wouldn't be a single one in the phone book. But she tries to find him. She can't find him. The phone number he gave her is wrong. Similar to what happens in Blind Date and The Perfect Date, with phone numbers being disconnected, addresses not existing, just not being able to track down the person you've been talking to unless they contact you. Yeah, so like I said before, not much happens in this book for the majority of it. Nothing threatening, nothing sinister, nothing happens until prom. It's pretty boring all the way through, and unlike the other books with date in the title, nothing fun happens. There's nothing over the top, nothing too campy. It's not fun. It's just boring kind of all the way through with nothing to make up for that. So you can totally skip this one. It does mostly stand alone. Like, I didn't need a lot of context to figure out what was going on. The only thing that maybe we need context for is it turns out the limo driver that Duke had hired was a rotting skeleton man, and Jennifer thinks like, oh no, the evil has come back. So I guess that was mentioned in a previous book. just the ancient evil, I guess, is what she's referring to. That, like the cheerleader series where they all get possessed by the ancient evil. I'm not sure what Duke had to do with that, unless that's the ancient evil was helping him become a real boy. So yeah, this one's for sure skippable. Oh, and if we want to determine how likely this is to happen to teens dating in the 90s, it's not. You don't have to worry about this. Teens dating in the 90s. You are probably not going to wish your perfect prom date into existence and then he's going to try to kill you. That's not going to happen. So, go to prom alone, with a friend, with someone of the same gender, different gender, it doesn't matter. Go to the prom however you want. You don't need a date. You can go with friends. It's fine. Somebody needed to tell these characters that. Then none of this would have happened. Okay, patrons, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting me. Go to go crash someone's prom and claim that you met them a year ago and you totally know them. Don't do that. You'll get arrested. Okay, bye-bye.